Revealed, billionaire discovers life-changing truth after encounter with his maid and her twins. James Worthington stood in his penthouse office, the skyline of the city stretching like a shimmering blanket beneath him. A billionaire at 45, he had everything: a sprawling mansion, luxury cars, and the power to shape industries. Yet, each evening, as he returned to his lonely home, a hollow ache grew within him. Behind the polished exterior of his successful life lay a deep sense of isolation. The fine art and decor couldn't fill the void that crept in as the sun dipped beyond the horizon. Maria, in her modest home, tackled life with fierce determination. Single mother of twin boys, Sam and Alex, she worked tirelessly under James's roof, cleaning his gleaming floors while dreaming of stability for her sons. Each smile from her kids lit up her weary heart, and every Saturday, they attended the town fair, where laughter and connection thrived. Although their lives were worlds apart, they shared a common ground: a longing for something deeper, something real. As autumn leaves danced in the crisp air, the annual Harvest Festival drew near, with its bustling booths and joyful celebrations. Maria shared stories with the boys about community, teamwork, and resilience, her heart swelling with pride as she watched them bond with other families. In contrast, James sat in his office, the lavish surroundings feeling more like a gilded cage. He watched the festival through his window, yearning for a connection he couldn't quite grasp. Then, the unthinkable happened. Young Sam, while helping his buddy climb a tree, lost his footing and fell, sending him to the hospital with a concussion just days before the festival. Panic gripped Maria's heart as she held her son's hand, tears falling quietly. In that moment of vulnerability, some invisible tie pulled James into their world, haunted by an unfamiliar empathy. He arrived unexpectedly at the hospital, his entrance as jarring as thunder within the sterile walls. "How can I help?" he asked, genuinely concerned, surprising both himself and Maria. The way he looked at her held something deeper: a glimpse of the human connection he had long lost. As they stood there, surrounded by machines and uncertainty, James felt an emotional awakening. The world shifted within him. But life isn't always straightforward. A major decision loomed for James: a deal that could jeopardize Maria's reputation if it fell through. Torn between the company's profit and protecting the family who had unknowingly rekindled something within him, he found himself standing at a precipice. At an important meeting, he would have to choose: uphold the unwavering pursuit of wealth or stand for what was right. The professionals around him would expect ambition and cold calculation, but his heart screamed differently. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As he prepared to speak, tension crackled in the air. Maria's spirit had ignited something profound within him, and the weight of the choice pressed down on him like a heavy blanket. Just then, a shocking incident occurred. An old friend of his family's made an outlandish accusation against Maria, one that could destroy her. His heart raced as he felt urgency flood through him. Would he step up when it mattered most, or would he retreat into his past life, surrendering to fear? As he gazed out at the gathered crowd, anxiety gripped him. Not just for Maria, but for himself. This was the fork in the road he'd long awaited, one that could either lead to redemption or deeper despair. James's heart thundered in his chest. He could feel the tension in the air as eyes turned toward him, waiting, expecting him to deny the accusations. His mind raced, plagued by doubts, but Maria's worried face flashed before him. She was counting on him, and in that moment, he understood that his life needed to change. "Everyone deserves a chance to be heard," he said, the weight of his words hanging in the air. The murmurs echoed like a heartbeat in the silence that followed, but James pressed on. "Maria has worked tirelessly and dedicated herself to her boys. She's a devoted mother, and those accusations are baseless. The room shifted uncomfortably. The discomfort of those who thrived on status and wealth collided with his newfound boldness. He could see skepticism written across their faces, but he thought of Sam lying in that hospital bed, the fragile spirit of a child who believed in goodness. Do we really want to destroy someone's life without evidence? He demanded. We should be lifting each other up, not tearing one another down. A ripple of surprise began to spread, followed by murmurs of agreement from a few. The old friend who had made the accusation shifted uncomfortably, his eyes narrowed in anger. James caught the glint of defiance in his gaze, but he stood his ground, feeling an unfamiliar warmth spreading through him, a sense of purpose. With a deep breath, James moved closer to the table filled with his colleagues. Look around, he urged. We've built walls around ourselves, comforted by wealth and power. There's a world out there waiting for us to care, to connect. Suddenly, he felt exposed, wearing his heart on his sleeve. But the vision of Maria's struggles, holding her sons close and loving them fiercely, pushed him forward. The tension in the room shifted, a flicker of respect lightened the atmosphere. As the meeting ended, his stomach knotted with uncertainty. James realized he had made enemies with his bold stand but found comfort in the soft thought of Maria. Her resilience was his anchor. He decided he needed to visit her, not just as a boss, but as someone who wanted to help. The sun was low in the sky as he approached her small home, its warm glow framed the weathered edges of her world. It struck him how different their lives were, yet how deeply he'd been impacted by her spirit. He could hear the joyful laughter of her twins spilling out into the evening air and, for a moment, everything else faded into the background. He knocked hesitantly, heart in his throat. When Maria opened the door, her eyes widened in surprise. The laughter paused behind her, and he felt like he stood on shaky ground, finally vulnerable. Gone was the untouchable billionaire, here was a man seeking connection. James? She asked slowly, uncertainty coating her voice. I wanted to check on Sam and to talk. There was more he needed to say, a spark of hope igniting within him. This could be the moment to build the bridge that had been missing from his life. But before anything could unfold, the sound of a commotion came from the twins inside. Clattering and shouts broke through, startling them both. Mom! Mom! Help! Sam's voice pierced through the chaos, panic rushing in again. James's heart raced anew. Why did the chaos have to come now? Would she allow him in to help, or would this moment slip away from them both? He could feel the weight of the decision pressing down again. As urgency bubbled up in his veins, he knew that they were at the edge of something monumental. Would this chaotic moment bring them closer together, or would it draw them apart? He stood there, poised to cross the threshold, as a surge of determination filled him. This time, he wouldn't shy away, he would face whatever came next. Maria, let us go see what we can do. The night was full of unknowns, but the flicker of hope continued to grow. Together, they might find their way through the storm. But as they rushed inside, James felt an unsettling sensation. The past didn't always stay behind sometimes, it came knocking when you least expected it. Inside, the vibrant laughter melted into frantic cries as Maria dashed toward the chaos, her instincts kicking in like a well-oiled machine. James followed closely, his heart pounding, juggling the fear of what lay ahead and the hope that maybe he could be part of something meaningful. The scene vividly unfolded before him. The twins were tangled in a pile of toys, tears streaming down their cheeks, alarmed by Sam's distress. James felt a wave of helplessness wash over him as Maria squatted down to comfort them, her presence like a warm blanket amidst their panic. It's okay, my loves, she cooed, her voice soft yet strong. Let us take a deep breath. The twins looked at her, their sobs gradually turning into hiccups. But Sam, just beyond their embrace, was still fretting, a shadow of fear clouding his little face. James instinctively moved forward, kneeling down beside him. Hey, buddy, what's wrong? He tried to keep his tone light, though his pulse raced. I can't find my favorite train. Sam's voice trembled, his lower lip quivering with worry. It's all right, James assured him, trying to absorb the boy's fear. Why don't we look together? I have a good feeling about this. The three of them began searching amidst the colorful chaos, James sifting through toys and blocks, still caught in the whirlwind of his own thoughts about Maria and how everything was changing. Finding that train felt trivial, yet it was a moment of connection, a bridge from the uncertain past to a brighter, engaged future. As they rummaged through the mess, Maria's gaze met James's. There was gratitude there, a flicker of appreciation that ignited something in him. He could see the weight she carried: love for her sons, worry for their future, and now concern for how these struggles would weigh on her relationship with him. There! Sam suddenly shouted, his small body bouncing with excitement. He held up the tiny wooden train. The relief washing over his face was infectious, and Maria beamed with pride. In that moment, James felt a profound sense of warmth. He wanted to be part of this feeling, to help build a sense of normalcy amid the chaos. That's it, Sam. You found it. Maria cheered, her voice rising with joy. James couldn't help but smile. Finding a train opened a door he didn't know he was desperate to step through, a chance to share what he had, to give instead of just taking. Maybe, if you'll let me, he began, taking a breath before continuing. I could help with the twins. Get to know them better and help you out. I know it's a lot, but I want to be involved. Maria's eyes flickered with surprise and uncertainty. It was a big step, but as she glanced at the grinning faces of her twins and the beaming smile of Sam, she realized how much she needed support. Really? You'd want to help? She asked, her voice almost breaking with emotion. Absolutely, he replied, sincerity painting his words. I might not have all the answers, but I want to be here for you. I see now that I need you and your family as much as you might need me. Silence enveloped them for a moment, the air thick with possibilities. The twins resumed their playful chatter, casting glances at James as if deciding whether the lanky man was more friend than stranger. Maria took a breath, the weight of her uncertainty mingling with a flicker of hope. As they organized the mess, laughter began to bubble up again, yet in James's heart, a new fear stirred. Would the past really stay behind? The accusations looming over Maria loomed tall, and he worried about the shadow it cast on their future. To share more than just the joyful moments would require facing the lurking storm. He reached for Maria's hand, hope and fear intertwining. Whatever comes next, we face it together. As they locked eyes, the connection deepened, and though James felt a spark of resolve, what would it truly take to protect Maria and her boys from the storm gathering on the horizon? James could feel the energy in the room shift as the laughter echoed brightly, yet the weight of unspoken worries still loomed around them. As the twins resumed their play, Maria brushed a stray hair away from her face, visibly trying to shake off tension. He could see her smile falter momentarily, a flicker of doubt dancing in her eyes before she straightened her posture and put on a brave front for the boys. Let us gather these toys before they take over the house, Maria said, injecting brightness into her voice. The twins squealed in delight at the idea of helping, involving themselves in the cleanup. Yet James could sense Maria's true struggle hiding beneath her cheerful facade. Hey, he whispered, gently pulling her aside, his voice low so the kids wouldn't hear. Are you okay? Maria hesitated, glancing back at Sam and the twins before meeting his gaze. It's just a lot, you know. Her words came out like a soft sigh, vulnerability spilling from her heart. I feel overwhelmed trying to juggle everything, especially with the past still hanging over me. James leaned in a little closer. You're not alone in this anymore. His tone was earnest, full of the hope he felt for both of them. I want to help you. We can figure this out together. Maria nodded, her eyes welling with gratitude. It's just hard to let someone in after everything. Silence hung in the air, thick with the weight of unshared burdens. James wished he could just pull her into a hug, reassure her that everything would be all right, but they were in a precarious moment. He had yet to fully peel back the layers of her life, the struggles she faced beyond the laughter and giggles that surrounded them now. At that moment, a loud crash broke through the evening calm, abruptly interrupting their conversation. The twins had knocked over a tower of blocks, and their delighted laughter cut through the tension like a knife. Sam rolled on the floor, laughing uncontrollably while Maria rushed back to usher them away from the chaos. James couldn't help but smile. The sound was joyous and innocent, and it reminded him of simpler times of being carefree and not burdened by the heavy weight of adult worries. Yet beneath his smile, the shadow of that storm lingered, threatening to break free. He took a deep breath, determined to navigate whatever headed their way. As the twins rolled around each other with giggles, he found his resolve strengthening. Perhaps there was a way forward, a chance to stand against the negative forces that wanted to shake their newfound connection. "Let us build something together," he proposed, diving into the playtime excitement. "How about a fort? With enough cushions, we can make the best one ever." Maria raised an eyebrow, an amused sparkle in her eye as she watched him get fully into it. "You really think we can build a fort bigger than the last one they made?" "Challenge accepted," he declared, his heart racing not just from the playful banter, but from the burgeoning affection that filled every look they shared. The twins quickly rallied behind James, excitedly dragging pillows and blankets, their laughter lighting up the room once again. As they built, Maria joined in, her laughter matching the happy chaos. In that moment, James felt a surge of belonging, like he had slipped into a role he was meant to play. As the fort grew, so did the camaraderie among them. But behind the laughter and the fun, James knew they had to confront the shadows that lingered. What would happen when the laughter faded? Across the room, Maria's phone suddenly buzzed, interrupting the moment, and she glanced at it, her expression shifting into concern. "I should probably check this," she said, the laughter dying down as she took a step away. James felt his heart race again, uncertainty creeping back in. Was it news from the shadows she had mentioned? Would this pull her away from the connection they were starting to build? "Maria," he called softly, a tremor of concern lacing his words. She turned back, the warmth of the space hanging between them now feeling cold as her phone buzzed persistently. "Just a moment," she murmured, her eyes scanning the message. James held his breath, sensing a shift approaching. What looming storm was about to unravel? Would this still be a moment of joy, or would it usher in uncertainties that could pull them apart? Maria's expression darkened as she read, and his heart sank, knowing that whatever awaited them next could change everything. Maria's face shifted as she stared at the screen, and James could practically feel the air get thicker. Her brows knit together, creating a troubled line that cut through the joy that had just brightened the room. The twins, oblivious to the tension, continued to giggle, tossing pillows over their heads in delight. "Maria?" He tried again, inching closer to her. The lightness from the fort they had built now felt so fragile, like it could crumble under the weight of whatever was brewing in her mind. I need to take this," she finally said, her voice shaky as she turned away, her energy pulling back like the tide. James watched her, torn between the urge to comfort her and the realization that she needed space right now. The moment felt ripe with a sense of looming dread, and he couldn't shake the feeling that whatever news she received could change everything they had been building. He took a step back, watching her type furiously, her thumb moving like it had a life of its own. The laughter of the twins continued, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in the corner of the room. After a long minute, Maria sighed deeply, her posture slumping slightly as she sank into one of the cushions. He felt a tug at his heart, the vulnerability. It was a look he recognized. It was the same one she had worn earlier when she had opened up to him. "James," she said softly, looking up from her phone, her voice strained. "It's about my past. It seems it's resurfacing." James nodded, his heart heavy. He felt a need to protect her, to shield her from whatever reality was creeping back in. "You don't have to face it alone," he assured her. "Whatever it is, we'll deal with it." She took a shaky breath, glancing at the twins who were still caught up in their own little world. "It's hard. They don't know I don't want to drag them into this." James understood the weight of her words. The responsibility she felt toward the twins was fierce and real, echoing his own protective instinct. "But you're not dragging them into something that already exists. You're keeping them safe. That's what you've been doing," he said gently. "You teach them to be strong, and they can handle things that come up." Maria met his gaze, the edges of her worry softening just a little. "It's just this message is from someone I thought I left behind. Someone who could disrupt everything." James felt a sense of urgency. "What if this person wants to hurt you or the boys? We need to make a plan. You can't go into this alone again." She nodded slowly, and for a fleeting moment, hope flickered in her eyes. "You're right. I need to get them ready for what could come. I need to face it." James felt adrenaline rush through him. He grabbed her hand, squeezing it reassuringly. "We'll build the fort to withstand whatever storm you're facing." Just then, the twins ran over, their eyes wide and bright. "Did you hear us? We need more pillows," Sam exclaimed, tugging at James's shirt. With a smile so genuine it nearly erased the tension, James knelt to the ground. "All right, let us do this. But first, Maria, let us tell them we're going to make the biggest fortress in the world." A smile returned to Maria's lips as she watched the boys. It was a brief moment, but the lightness came rushing back, knitting together the fragile space between them once again. Before they resumed their playful chaos, Maria took a deep breath. Something shifted in her expression, a new determination illuminating her face. "Let us make this fort strong enough for anything," she said, and for the first time, James felt she believed it too. But just as they got started, Maria's phone buzzed again, this time even more insistently. Both James and Maria exchanged wary glances, a flicker of dread replacing the momentary joy that had just ignited in their hearts. What if the very news that had pulled them apart moments ago was about to come crashing back in? "Maybe we should check," she said, her voice uncertain. "Or we can put it down and face this together," James countered, feeling a thread of hope clinging to him. But would a shift in resolve be enough? The question hung in the air as both of them turned toward the twins, who were ready for another round of laughter and games, unknowing of the storm still brewing on the horizon. Maria's heart raced as she stared at her phone, the screen illuminated with a message that felt like a firecracker waiting to explode. She shifted in her seat, her fingers hovering over the screen as if she could will the message to disappear. But deep down, she knew that running wasn't an option anymore. "James," she finally whispered, her voice laced with both dread and determination. "I think I have to see what they want." James's brows furrowed, conflicting emotions swirling in his chest. "Are you sure? What if it's too much?" Silence wrapped around them, thick and suffocating. The twins were now in their own imaginary world, piling pillows and building a fortress that resembled more of a squishy mountain than a protective barrier. They were blissfully unaware of the turmoil about to engulf their carefree afternoon. "Maybe I should just ignore it," she said, teetering on the edge of decision. But her fingers still gripped the phone, as if somehow, something magnetic was pulling her toward the truth, no matter how painful it could be. "No," James said firmly, the warmth of his hand covering hers. "You need to know what they want. You've been running for too long. This is part of you, and it's not going anywhere unless you face it. You're the strongest person I know." At his words, a flicker of light ignited within her. Maria swallowed hard and nodded, resolve building behind the thunderclouds that once dominated her expression. "You're right. I can't let the past control me anymore." Slowly, she pressed her thumb down, opening the message with shaky hands. The blue bubbles danced across the screen, swirling with familiar words that sent echoes of fear and uncertainty through her veins. Maria's breath quickened as she read. Here was the ghost of her past, stepping back into her life in a way she never wanted to remember. "Who is it?" James asked, a protective urgency infused in his voice. He peered over her shoulder, keenly aware of the texture of dread weaving through the air. "It's," she hesitated, her voice trailing off as she braced for the storm that could follow. "It's my brother. He wants to talk." "Your brother?" James echoed, disbelief flooding his expression. "The one from before? The one who, yeah." Her voice fell to a whisper. "The one who made my life so complicated." His grip tightened around her shoulder, anchoring her in the chaos of her thoughts. In her heart, she knew James was right. This wasn't just her concern, it was about the twins too. "Look," he said softly, "if he wants to come back into your life, it's important to have a plan. We need to keep the boys safe." Maria felt the weight of his words. The trust she had in him was like a buoy in a stormy sea. "You're right," she whispered back. "I don't have to do this alone." The twins called out, interrupting the moment, their giggles echoing through the room once again. "Come on. Come help us. We need more pillows." They were oblivious to the gravity between the adults, just wanting to fortify their sanctuary. With a shaky smile, Maria put the phone down and rose. "We will tackle this together," she agreed, a newfound strength stirring within her. "But first, let us build this fort stronger than ever." James joined her, determination flaring in his eyes. Together they surrounded the twins, laughter spilling into the air like a balm for their worries. They stacked pillows and blankets, fortifying their fortress against whatever storm was brewing outside. "Okay, everyone. We're working on a fortress that can withstand anything, right?" James hollered, throwing a vibrant pillow through the air. "Yeah." The twins cheered, their voices blending as they cheered for their great construction project. But as Maria tossed a pillow, the buzzing of her phone resumed again, and a tightness gripped her chest. The weight of uncertainty settled like a dark cloud. "James?" Maria looked at him, the laughter of the twins fading momentarily. "What if he's not here to fix things? What if he makes everything worse?" James met her gaze, his expression steady. "Then we'll face that, too. Together." In that moment, the echo of laughter began again, but dirted by the shadows lingering in Maria's heart. Would facing her brother lead to healing, or an avalanche of chaos they weren't prepared for? As the sound of joy rang around her, she stole a glance at her phone. The next message was surely even harder to read. "Are you ready for this?" James asked quietly, and for the first time that day, Maria felt a mix of fear and excitement as they prepared to face the unknown that lay just a message away. Maria's heart thudded as she stood there, shifting nervously from one foot to the other. The room hummed with the sounds of giggling twins and the rustle of pillow forts, yet inside her, a storm raged. All she could focus on was the phone buzzing in her hand, like it was alive, demanding her attention. "Do you think we should check it?" she said, a small voice breaking through her whirlwind of thoughts. James' gaze caught hers, holding it steady. "If you want to. Just know it might bring up things we can't ignore." Her breath faltered. The thought of her brother's voice so familiar and yet so distant sent shivers down her spine. Would he bring closure, or would he unleash chaos? Maria hesitated, caught between nostalgia and fear. What if he tries to manipulate me again?" James squeezed her hand. "That's a possibility. But remember, you're not the same person you were. You're stronger now. You know your worth." The sincerity in his voice sparked a flicker of hope within her chest. "Maybe I've created this fantasy of who my brother could be, rather than who he is. If there's truth in his message, it's worth exploring, right?" "Absolutely," he replied, nodding. "Trust your instincts." That's what brought you this far. Maria took a deep breath. She glanced again at the twins, engrossed in their pillow mountain, their laughter a balm against her worries. Her pulse quickened. Slowly, she tapped the screen, pulling up the message. Maria, it read, I know it's been a long time. I'm back in town and I need to see you. The words blurred as memories clawed their way to the surface, harsh words, family fights, those last devastating arguments that felt like thunder when her brother had stormed out of her life. What does it say? James leaned in closer, curiosity mixing with concern. It's not what I expected, she said, her voice trembling. He wants to talk. He says he needs me. Don't rush into anything. Just because he's reaching out doesn't mean you owe him anything, James warned, his grip still firm. I know, she whispered, still half lost in thought. Maria lingered over a fragment of his message, feeling the familiar tug of needing to reconcile her past. But did she really want to pull those old threads back to the forefront? What would it mean for her and the twins? Can we take a breather? She asked, momentarily withdrawing from the weight of her phone. Holding it felt like carrying an anchor. Just a minute to breathe? Of course. Let us regroup with the kids, James suggested, his voice warm and grounding. Maria took a moment to step into the chaotic laughter of her children. The fortress loomed over her, fortified not just with pillows but with their dreams of safety and adventure. She squeezed a little tighter into the commotion, letting their energy seep into her bones. As they piled more pillows, James noticed Maria's distracted gaze. What's on your mind? He asked, his voice soft amidst the laughter. What if meeting him only brings back the pain? What if he hasn't changed? James paused, resting a hand on her shoulder. That's why you need to be ready. Only you can decide if what he offers is worth it. As the laughter reached a crescendo, Maria's heart began to slow. The smell of popcorn filled the air, her twins were pulling out another bag for movie night. The thought of simple joys propelled her forward. Could facing her brother truly add more joy than it took away? Okay, she finally said, looking at James with resolve, let us set the ground rules. If I do decide to meet him, I want to go alone. Good plan, he agreed. Just then, her phone buzzed again, shaking her from her thoughts. The screen lit up with another message from her brother. I'm outside. Can we talk? A rush of panic hit her. The welling emotions she thought she'd mastered crested violently. James, she whispered, the air thickening with uncertainty. He's here. What do I do? As fear sparked in her chest, Maria felt all eyes on her next move, on this decision that could change everything. Did she have the strength to face him, now? Maria's heart raced, the weight of the moment crashing down around her. The twins were oblivious, lost in their world of laughter and pillow forts, but for her, the air was thick with tension. James, sensing her struggle, moved in closer, the warmth of his presence grounding her. Do you need a moment? He asked softly, his eyes searching hers for guidance. She swallowed hard, feeling a lump form in her throat. I don't know if I can do this. What if he just wants to hurt me again? What if? He won tea, James interrupted firmly but gently. But if you're having doubts, it's okay. You don't have to face him yet. You can tell him to leave. A flicker of defiance sparked in Maria. What if it's different this time? What if he really wants to change? James nodded slowly, clearly understanding the delicate balance of hope and fear. Then you'll need to be ready to find out, even if it's hard. Just remember, you're not alone. I'm right here with you. Through her swirling thoughts, she glanced outside the window. He stood there, a familiar silhouette against the backdrop of fading daylight. Her brother, once a constant presence in her life, now felt like a ghost haunting her past. With a deep breath to steady her nerves, she decided to take the plunge. Let us do it, she said, her voice gaining strength. But I want you to come with me. Not into the conversation, just nearby. Of course, he replied. I'll be close. You can do this. As she opened the door, the hinges creaked, and the fresh evening air rushed in, cooling the heated space around her. There he stood, shifting on his feet, a mixture of apprehension and expectation in his eyes as he caught sight of her. Maria, he started, his voice shaky. Thank you for coming. Why are you here? Her tone was steely, masking the turmoil beneath. She couldn't ignore the tremor in her hands, or the way her stomach churned, but this was her moment to reclaim her narrative. I just want to talk. I've changed, he said, his eyes pleading for understanding. You think that after all this time, just saying you've changed is enough? She crossed her arms, a barrier she hoped would keep her heart protected. You hurt me. You hurt all of us. I know. And I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I was lost, and I didn't see what I was doing to you, to us. He reached a tentative hand forward, but she flinched. I don't want to repeat old patterns, she warned, stepping back ever so slightly. Your actions in the past matter more than your words now. You have to earn trust again. Then let me do that. Can we just sit and talk somewhere away from here? She felt a flicker of hope. Could he really be sincere? What do you want from me? She asked, her voice quieter now, the walls of her heart faltering. Just a chance, he replied, his sincerity washing over her like a cool breeze on a hot day. A chance to explain myself, and to show you that I am different. James appeared in the doorway, standing back while still in view, a silent reminder of the safety net she created around herself. He gave her a small nod, encouraging but giving her space to choose. Taking a deep breath, Maria weighed her options. A part of her wanted to slam the door and put this all behind her, but another part, the brave part, whispered that maybe, just maybe, reconciliation was possible. Okay, she finally said, and felt the shock of her own decision light up her spine. I'll hear you out, but don't think this means I trust you yet. This is just the beginning. You need to prove you've changed. His face shifted from worry to relief. Thank you, Maria. I won't waste this chance. As they turned to walk away, Maria's heart raced with a jumble of emotions: fear, hope, doubt, and the echo of her children's laughter still ringing in the background. Was she ready for this journey? And while they walked together into the night, she couldn't help but wonder, could confronting her brother lead to healing, or would it open wounds that could never truly heal? A profound silence enveloped them, filled only with her growing unease. What awaited her on this path? The answers felt both thrilling and terrifying. They walked side by side, the sky above them darkening as the first stars began to twinkle. This was a new journey, one Maria never expected to take, not with him. Each step felt heavy, like she was dragging years of hurt behind her. She wasn't sure where this road led, but she knew she had to pave her own way. Her brother suggested a quiet park just a few blocks away. As they approached the swings that creaked softly in the evening breeze, Maria couldn't help but be reminded of carefree childhood days spent here. Back when laughter had meant safety, not sorrow. Why here? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Why not somewhere else? He paused, casting his eyes across the empty grass. Because I remember the joy we had here. I want to remind you of that and hope we can build something new. Hope. She felt the weight of the word hang in the air. It was a fragile thing, almost like glass. Hope isn't enough. Not after everything. I know it won't be easy, he replied, sinking down onto the swing. The chains rattled, a sound emblematic of their relationship strained and rusty. But I'd like to start by owning my mistakes. Can I do that? Maria took a breath, feeling the tension coil back up. Okay, she said, deciding to give him this moment. One chance to speak from his heart. Just be honest. No excuses. I grew up thinking I had to prove myself, that I had to fight for everything. It blinded me. I hurt our family because I was so wrapped up in my own battles. His eyes had turned serious, glistening under the faint lights of the park. I didn't realize how much I lost while chasing something I never needed. She stood before him, her arms crossed tightly, trying to shield her heart. That makes it sound simple, but it wasn't just a misunderstanding. It shattered lives. I know, and I don't expect you to forgive me easily, he said, his voice barely audible. But I want to change. I'm ready to do what it takes to show you my commitment to making things right. I need to earn your trust again. Not just hope for it. Maria felt a tumult of emotions swirl within her. It was a mix of anger and understanding, a delicate dance she had never wanted with him. Change happens, but it doesn't happen overnight. It takes actions, not just words. Even if I'm scared to hope again. He nodded, absorbing her words like they were a lifeline. I understand. Just give me a chance to show you I can be different. I'm willing to work hard for it. The park was quiet now, the shadowy outlines of trees providing a comforting embrace. She glanced around, letting the moment sink in. Was it possible that this was the first step towards healing? Or would they find the ground too uneven to build anything sustainable? Before she could reply, the sound of laughter interrupted their conversation. It was the twins, running toward her, bright smiles on their faces. Maria knelt to meet them, enveloping them in her arms, their innocent joy a stark contrast to the tension swirling around her. Mom! Mom! Look what we made! One of them exclaimed, holding up a handful of vibrant leaves and sticks crafted into a makeshift crown. Maria's heart softened, a flicker of light amid the shadows. It's beautiful! She exclaimed as she pulled them close. The twins' laughter filled her ears, melting the protective wall she built around herself. As she looked back at her brother, she saw a complex mix of emotions on his face: hope, fear, and the promise of change. I want them to know a better family than we had, he murmured. One filled with real love and trust. Maria's heart raced again, but this time it wasn't just fear, it was possibility. Could they truly create something new amidst the ruins of their past? And just as she decided to answer, a blaring horn broke through the calm night, shaking her focus. From the shadows of the park, a dark car rolled to a stop. Maria's pulse quickened. Who was that? Before she could wonder further, her brother's expression changed, fear replacing hope as he turned to her. Maria, we may not be alone anymore. Her breath caught in her throat. What had she stepped into? The uncertainty clawed at her, making her realize there were more dangers than just the past haunting them. What had they unleashed? The arrival of the ominous car sent an electric shock through Maria. She instinctively gathered her twins closer, the laughter abruptly silenced as fear crept into their innocent eyes. James stepped forward, standing between her and the unknown threat, his presence a shield that boosted her resolve. Who's that? He asked, voice steady but laced with caution. Maria glanced at her brother, who seemed to lean back, the fight in him evaporating like mist in the morning sun. I don't know, she stammered, her heart pounding in erratic rhythms as the car door swung open. A figure stepped out, someone from her past, someone she had feared might show up. Maria. Her brother's voice broke through, panic rising. We should leave. Now. She wanted to move, to run, but the weight of uncertainty rooted her to the ground. No, it's okay, she said, with a quiet strength she barely felt. She needed to face her past, to confront it head-on rather than flee. The figure walked towards them, a shadowy familiarity cloaked in an air of menace. There you are, sis, he smirked, his voice casual, as if they were old friends, not estranged siblings. Thought I'd come see how you're doing. Looks like you've made quite the life for yourself. Don't you dare talk to her like that. James interjected, his voice fierce. He shot a glance at Maria, reassuring her without words that she was not alone. James, Maria began but was cut off by her brother's voice rising again. No. This is wrong, and you know it. The determination in James's words resonated deeply within her. It reminded her of the strength she carried inside, a strength that had grown through her struggles as a mother and a survivor. Maria took a breath and stepped forward, grounding herself. What do you want? She asked her estranged brother. You've already hurt me more than enough. He laughed, a hollow sound that twisted her stomach. Just came to visit the family. Is that so wrong? This isn't just a family visit, Maria pushed, stepping into the light of the street lamps. Your actions speak for themselves. You can't just waltz in after everything and expect us to trust you. The tension hung thick in the air, delicate and full of potential danger. Her brother's expression shifted, the taunting bravado momentarily faltering. Things are different now. I'm not the same guy, he insisted, but Maria wasn't convinced. All the memories of hurt and betrayal washed over her in a flood. Prove it, she said firmly. You have a chance to start over, but you must show real change. His confident facade began to crack, the shadows of guilt briefly flitting across his face. But before he could respond, the uncertainty came rushing back as a gruff voice called from the car. Are we just going to stand here all night? Maria stiffened. This wasn't just a simple encounter anymore, it had the makings of something far more dangerous. The door creaked open wider, and another figure stepped out. Let us get what we came for, Alex, the newcomer said, irritation knitting his brow. He looked from her brother to James, sizing them up. The feeling spiraled quickly, something was about to break. Go, Maria urged, barely above a whisper to her brother. Her heart drummed dangerously in her chest. You need to leave. This isn't good for you, it's not good for the kids. Alex's features tightened. You're going to regret this, Maria. You think you can push me away? This isn't over. And like that, the confrontation seemed to fracture, a sharp knife's edge revealing the blooming chaos ribbing their lives. Her brother threw a last searching glance. Was it for reassurance or fear? Maria, please, he hesitated, as if ready to break all over again. Find help, were the only words she could muster. She understood that behind the facade of bravado lay a brother grappling with his own demons, but she couldn't be his crutch anymore. Before Alex could react, Maria turned back to James, the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes mirrored in his own. Let us go back. James nodded, shifting to guide the twins, who were confused but still trusting. Holding their small hands, Maria felt a flicker of strength wash over her. Hey! You're making a mistake. Alex's voice boomed, but Maria couldn't let fear control her anymore. She had the power within her and the love of her children to protect. As they walked back, Maria let tears of relief and anger flow freely. She was allowing herself to confront the past, she was also ready to let go of the burdens that threatened to suffocate her present. They reached the car, and Maria turned to James, her heart still racing. Thank you. No one stands alone against their past, James replied quietly, his eyes steady. You did what you needed to do. We're all in this together. As she looked back at the park, the shadows were receding, but with that looming uncertainty, she felt a sense of clarity for the first time. Maybe she couldn't change her past, but she could carve out a future filled with hope and resilience. In that moment, Maria realized something profound. Regardless of her brother's jarred attempt to reconnect, she had found a new family. One rooted in love, courage, and the unwavering strength that had blossomed in her heart, fiercely illuminating her path ahead. Let us keep moving, James said softly, shrugging off the shadows as they got back into the car. Together. And with that, the weight of the past began to lift, leaving room for something extraordinary to unfurl, just like the laughter of the twins filling the space around them, a fresh start shimmering in the distance. Now, it was time to embrace it. Wait no longer for your own inspiration. You need to subscribe now to stay updated on more heartwarming transformations like Maria and James'. Hit that like button. Your support helps spread these stories far and wide. Don't forget to comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending. Share this meaningful journey with at least 5 friends who need to see hope in transformation. This is the moment to rally behind the stories that matter. Don't wait not even one more second to inspire others.